course. Okay, I believe we are recording. Okay, welcome everybody. Today we're going to be talking, this is an enrollment workshop to support students who are interested in taking the BOT 106 Concurrent Enrollment course that GUHSD is offering in partnership with Grossmont College. Grossmont College will actually be the school who is going to teach the course and facilitate the course. And so we have with us today a couple of folks who are going to help us understand the process for what everyone needs to do to enroll in this course. It's multi-step, but it's really not too difficult. I think once it's broken down, I've put the bit.ly here on the screen, and I'll share that in a moment. But there's also a QR code if you want to follow along on the slides. I will send a follow-up email out at the end with the recording and the slides and all of the supporting documents and everything. So, okay. So my name is Jamie Davenport. I'm the CTE curriculum specialist with the Grossmont Union High School District. And we have with us today Sosha Thomas, who is the instructor for the BOT, 106 course. Sorry about that. And we also have Jaden Logan, who is a student ambassador with Grossmont College, and he'll be helping you guys understand the application process. And Ms. Thomas is going to talk about what the BOT 6 course looks like and answer questions that you may have. If you do have questions regarding anything that's being said, or if something has not been answered, please put them in the chat, and we'll pause after each of these segments to answer questions. Okay. And then at the end, I'm going to be talking about how you can go about completing the concurrent enrollment form and submitting that to us so we can get you enrolled in the course. Okay. So that's our agenda for this hour or so that we have together. I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to turn things over to Ms. Thomas, who's going to share her screen and walk you through the BOT 106 course.
Okay. Hey, everybody. As Jamie said, I'm Sosha Thomas, and I've been teaching job search in Grossmont for too long. And prior to that, I actually worked as a human resources director, so I was able to get all the job search help from there that I can give to my students. So all about the interviews and what our employees looking for, and what to say and what not to say, what your resume should look like, what your cover letter, how does your cover letter help you? So these are all the different things that I will be talking about in class. If you guys already have a resume, that's great. We'll make sure that we improve on it. And hopefully this class will really help you at least open your eyes into what's like out there in the real world. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen right now. So this is what a Canvas course looks like. I'm not sure if you guys use Canvas or not. And you'll be getting into this class, BOT 106. And over here, we have, announcements that I'll be sending to you about welcoming you, telling you when the class dates are. And then after that, we can go right into the syllabus. Your course syllabus will be here, giving you all the information you need to know. And then here are the modules. So this is where we'll start the first week. It's all about just getting used to getting in there and getting comfortable. And the only thing I think that probably you need to do in Unit 1 is introduce yourself. And I have that on a Padlet. And you're going to have a Unit 1 discussion where you're going to talk about just what you learned about this in the Canvas and what's expected of you. Week 2, we go on to talk about being career ready. And I actually do have a counselor from Grossmont that will be talking to you. This is the only class, the only time that you are required to show. It's an hour long, and it's on March 17th, and it's at 1 p.m. That would be the only time that it would be helpful for you to be to Zoom, so that the counselor can answer any of your questions and also explain the process of how they help you with your career. what they think that's your best suited for, or what you are interested in and how they can help you get there. So other than that, it's all in here. It's broken down by week, unit 1, 2, 3, all the way on. We talk about etiquette, networking with social media, trying to find out who you are, what your transferable skills are. And eventually we do your resume. We do interviews. You'll be recording yourself, answering questions to the interview questions. And then finally, the end of class post, that would be your final exam. Any questions?
Sosha, before we go on, can you just make sure to clarify, this is all online?
All online, 100%, except for that one
Except
Zoom.
for the one meeting,
Yeah.
the one Zoom meeting. Everything else is done online, kind of at the students as they're at their own pace.
Yes.
Is that
As
correct?
an instructor, I know that this much work should have been done by the first week, and I probably will get in touch with you and say, hey, can I help? What's wrong? Just to make sure that they are going to be successful in this class.
I'm getting in the chat from Waim, and I'm sure that this applies to other students as well. They are in school at 1 p.m. on March 17th. So we may need to either work together with you or maybe release them from class. We'll figure out how to get that done. But just know that students will provide you with more information about that date if the time changes, or if we're able to release you from class, we'll follow up with you and let you know. So we should be able to, we will try to work that out. And please don't let that interfere with you taking the class. We'll work it out somehow. Okay.
Awesome. Any other questions I can answer?
Someone is asking, will we be needing a textbook?
No.
All
No
of the
textbook.
resources everything
is in the class. Yes.
Awesome. Any other questions? Those are great questions. How much time do you expect students to have to expend on this per week? Like, how much time will they need to do the assignments and so on? What is your estimation?
Well, when you take one of our let me see, up here on top, when you take your survey about yourself, and then after that you have to think about, okay, you know, what am I interested in, or what skills do I really like? And I took this test, and it's telling me that these are my strong areas. So there's a lot of thinking. This particular let me see, transferable skills, right? It's asking you to write down what skills you have. And I try and I show you what the 21st century skills are that employers are looking for. And so I ask you to think about, you know, what have you done in school, team projects? Have you taken on any leadership roles? So things to show that you're motivated. For example, that's one of the things that employers like to see. How are you motivated? Well, do you know how to show that? You might not. And I'm hoping that this class will help you sell yourself so that you know who you are and what you can offer. So how much time does it take? You can see how it depends on each person, depends on how much work experience you have, or do you not have any work experience? Things like that. But I would say no more than a max of 5 hours.
Per week?
Per week.
Okay. And just to put that may sound like a lot initially to students, but to put that into perspective, each of your classes on a daily basis is 1 hour. So that's about what you would spend in a typical class anyways. So you can pace yourself out. This is all sort of paced by how you want to do it, right? Because it's all online. So it's all asynchronous learning, meaning you don't need to be in any physical location at a specific time. You will log on to Canva and Canvas and do your lessons during the time that you have when you like. So if you want to do them all, you know, do everything in one sitting over, you know, on a weekday, you can do that, or a weekend. It's going to be up to you to sort of pace yourself and be getting your assignments done. And again, the times might vary from, you know, up to maximum, she said 5 hours, which is again, an hour a day. That's what you spend in a regular class. Someone's asked, so they're taking English for business. How are you going to manage time for that class and your other schools? That's sort of up to you. Sorry if you don't mind. That's sort of up to you and how you manage your time, again, because this is all asynchronous, and you know, you can fit in time. I mean, you might want to do this on the weekends. You might want to do a little bit each day. That's sort of going to be up to you. Again, you don't have to be in any physical location. It's all online and the pacing's up to you. Okay. Someone's asked, do we need to do the Fafsa? Not for this course. Okay.
No.
Right.
I don't think so.
No, you do not need to have a completed Fafsa to enroll in this course. Although I would suggest that you do complete the Fafsa at some point if you're planning to go to post-secondary, you know, training somehow, but you don't need to have it done for this course. I think those were the questions. Any other questions, guys?
I'm just going to look at your email just to make sure that I didn't miss anything.
Yeah, sure.
Work level course contact benefits. What will the students get out of this class? I think I answered that. And the format, it's all asynchronous except for that 1 hour that we'll work out that's best for everyone. So I think, yeah, I covered everything.
Awesome. Okay. If there's no other questions on this, are there any other questions? Last chance. Okay, someone says they haven't started the college application. Do you need to finish the application first? We're going to walk you, that's our next segment. That's a great segue. We're going to walk you through finishing, enrolling in the college and getting your ID number so that you can enroll in this course. So yes, before you enroll in the course and start the work on Canvas, you do need to have the application completed, but we're going to walk you through that right now. Okay.
The start date is March 7th. I just wanted to throw that out there, March 7th.
Right. So the course will be available to begin on March 7th.
Right.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you don't have to be anywhere March 7th, but again, you'll be able to start participating in the class and working on assignments starting March 7th. Is that correct, Sosha?
That's perfect. Yes.
Okay. Okay. So if there aren't any more questions about the course itself, let's go ahead and move on to Jaden, and Jaden's going to walk you through the application process. So if Sosha, if you wouldn't mind stopping your share, and then we'll let Jaden pick up from there. Thank you so much, Sosha, for your help with this and for answering all of these questions. I think you provided a lot of really great information.
Perfect.
Right.
Here we go. Are you able to hear me at all?
Yep.
Perfect. Hi, everyone. So my name is Jaden. I'm the outreach specialist for Grossmont College's outreach department. I'm going to go ahead and assist you guys with completing your application. So we're going to go through it together. I'm going to create kind of a dummy account just so that we're able to go ahead and follow through. So if you guys haven't already, feel free to go ahead and go onto your web browser and then just type in grossmont.edu. That'll take you to our homepage. I'm going to begin sharing my screen just so that we can be on the same pace.
And just as a reminder, we are recording this. So if you need to rewatch later, I'll be sending this out tomorrow.
Perfect. Okay, so hopefully everyone is on this page. This should be the homepage for Grossmont College. So what we will do from here is we're going to be looking for apply on the top right. We're going to go ahead and click that so that can take us to our application. What we want to do is it'll look like we're on the same page, but we're actually on the next one. We're going to scroll past this YouTube video, and what we'll be looking for is create a Ccc Mypath account. We can go ahead and click on that. And a brief explanation of what OpenCCC is. Primarily, say you wanted to attend Grossmont College and for whatever reason you wanted to attend another community college in the state of California, whether it be San Francisco, if it was further up north, or even if it was somewhere else like City College, they would already have partial of your information, so it would help reduce the amount of time needed to go ahead and complete an application for their college. But nonetheless, I already have an account, but what you guys will want to do is you're going to go ahead and click on create an account right here. You guys will want to go ahead and enter your cell phone number, or you can use your email as well. it's going to go ahead and send you a verification code so that we can go ahead and get started on your application. So feel free to go ahead and do that. I'm going to stop my share briefly just so I can go ahead and get logged in for you guys really quickly. Perfect. Okay. And in the meantime, again, feel free to go ahead and enter either your mobile phone number, or if you'd like to enter your email address so that we can go ahead and get you logged in. After you are done with that, you will be directed to a page where it'll go ahead and ask you a couple of some information about your address, your first name, last name, information similar to that, so that you're able to go ahead and get logged in. And then if you guys are having any issues at all, feel free to go ahead and put any questions that you may have in the chat. But I'll go ahead and give you guys a couple minutes because I know that you do have to enter a little bit of information about yourselves.
If I could just jump in and say really quickly too, that it's real at this point, I believe they do ask you for your social security number. Is that correct, Jaden? I believe that there's a, but you can go on without entering it, but it's really important. It will save you a lot of time later on down the road. If you have your social security number, or you have a social security number, take a minute and get it, or go ask and find out what it is before you complete this step, because again, later on down the line, it may create problems if you do not enter a social security number. If you don't have a social security number, just go ahead and proceed, and there are workarounds, but just if you have one, it really is worth it at this point to make sure you enter it in.
Go ahead and get logged in just so I can be at the same page as you guys. Perfect. And then let me go ahead and start my share again. Okay, perfect. And so if you guys were able to go ahead and access your page, this should be the next following page that you guys are able to look at as soon as you get logged in. So feel free to let me know in the chat if for whatever reason this isn't what you're seeing at the moment, and then feel free to go ahead and describe it to me so that we can go ahead and get you to this page. Okay, perfect. So I'm not seeing any messages in the chat, so we're going to go ahead and continue on. So for those of you that are able and are already on this page, we're going to go ahead and begin by clicking Apply Now. We're going to be directed to another page where we're going to click Apply Now one more time. And then lastly, we're going to click on Sign In. After doing so, this will allow us to go ahead and start a new application. So what we want to do is click on Start a New Application. And so once we've done that, you will be directed to the Grossmont College application. Here, you guys can go ahead and enter that you'd be applying for fall 2022, which is after summer. So
No, I think they want to do spring.
Yes, I'm sorry, because you guys started on March
Yes.
7th. I'm sorry.
Yes, that's okay.
So yes, you guys will want to go ahead and click on spring 2022. As far as your educational goal, you guys can select whichever feels most right to you, whichever you feel like you're coming to college for. If you feel as though maybe you're coming for educational development, if you want to improve a couple of your skills, or if your end goal is maybe to obtain an associate degree and transfer to another university, you can also click on that as well. And one thing to note, whatever you decide here is not set in stone. You don't necessarily have to complete an associate degree if you mark that down. And same with the intended major or program of study. If you guys aren't really sure on what it is that you'd want to study, but you're mainly taking the class just to build on skills that you already have, you can select whatever you want. These aren't set in stone until you actually sit down and meet with a counselor and get it written down on an ed plan. So you can choose whatever you feel like you may be most interested in.
Is undecided an option?
I don't believe so. We did have that, honestly. We're going through an update period with the application process, so they did remove it, but it should hopefully be back, I want to say, in the next month or so.
Okay, I did see undecided as an option for the first question, though, just
Mhm.
FYI for students, it was the very last one. If you are undecided, if you have an educational goal, that's great. Put that in, of course.
Perfect. Okay, so
It looks like we might need to give students just a minute to catch up.
yes.
In the
Perfect. And then again, if you guys have any questions whatsoever, feel free to go ahead and direct them toward the chat, and I should be able to go ahead and answer those for you. That's perfectly fine. Let me go ahead and go back really quickly for you guys, just so that we're able to go ahead and see where exactly we're at. So again, we will want to go ahead and from the, I don't know if it'll allow me to go all the way back because I signed in, but so you guys are going to want to go ahead and click on create an account. Once you go ahead and click on create an account, you're going to want to go ahead and enter either your phone number, get to this page. Okay, that's perfectly fine. So let me go ahead and start from the beginning really quickly. So starting from the Grossmont College website, we will be here. This is the home page, just grossmont.edu. After making it here, we're just going to go ahead and click on apply. And so after doing so, we're on the how to apply page. We're just going to go ahead and scroll down to where we see the number 1, complete your application with Mypath. After we find this, we're going to go down here to the smaller number 1, and we're going to click on create a Ccc Mypath. It should be in green and underlined for you, so feel free to go ahead and click on that. And because I'm already logged in, it brought me directly to this page, but if you weren't logged in, what you would want to be clicking for is create a Ccc Mypath or create an account. After doing so, you're going to want to go ahead and either enter your phone number or your email address so that the website can send you a verification code. You'll want to go ahead and enter that verification code on the next page so that you're able to go ahead and start to enter your information. And so after you are entering your information, you'll be entering information such as your first name, last name, your date of birth, and your address, as well as creating a password at the bottom of that page. If for whatever reason the password doesn't work, you may need to, on the left-hand side, there will be boxes that you may need to check just to be able to go ahead and have it verified. So feel free to go ahead and do that. If you're having issues with the password, feel free to let me know and we can definitely go ahead and look into that for you. But if not, after completing all of that, you will end up on this page. So feel free to let me know if you guys are having any type of issues getting to this page so far.
And again, as you're completing that application for the Open CCC or Ccc Mypath, I think they're, I guess, rebranding a little, but as you're completing that portion of the application, please, if it's going to ask you for your social security number, if you have your social security number or if you can get it, please make sure to enter it in at that point because it'll make other things later down the line a lot easier. If you don't have a social security number, you can go ahead and bypass it and continue with the application anyways. But if you have a social security number, it's worth it at this point to enter it in and to at least, to find it, enter it in there. It'll be worth it later on down the line, as I said.
And for those students that may possibly not have a social security number, if you happen to have your green card or your alien identification number, we'll be able to go ahead and use that later on in the application just so that you guys can bypass it. If for whatever reason you don't know your social security number, the application may possibly not let you submit, but we will be able to go ahead and save all of the work that you get done today, just so that you can go ahead and enter that at a later date, whether that's tonight or tomorrow, so that all you'll have to do is just log in and click on submit for your application. And then as you guys start to get to this page, feel free to let me know in the chat so I know when to continue on with you guys. Perfect. Bisan is on the page. And then if any of you as well are, for whatever reason, on this page and you guys are ready, feel free to give me a thumbs up, or if you'd like to let me know in the chat as well. Okay, perfect. I'm seeing Lizette is ready. Okay, let's give it a couple more minutes for people to catch up. And then
We have a few people on who seem to have already gone through this process, and they're wondering if they have to complete another application. And the answer is no. If you've recently completed this application process and you submitted the Grossmont College application, if you don't have your ID already, I'm hoping that Jaden at the end of this will show you how to retrieve your ID. If you haven't retrieved it already, you're not going to get an email with your ID. You have to go through a process to retrieve the ID. Jaden will show us in a moment. If you have the ID, then all you need to do is complete the concurrent enrollment form, which I'm going to go over in a moment, or you can come and share your ID with us, which I will put the form in the chat so that you can share your ID with us. Okay. Thank you.
awesome. And then again, for those of you that have already made it to this page, feel free to go ahead and click on apply now. It'll take you to another page where you'll need to click apply now one more time and then sign in. After doing so, you'll be able to go ahead and start on your application. Perfect. And if any of you are still having issues getting logged in, feel free to let me know in the chat so I could hopefully try to walk you through it, okay? And then so when you click apply, you're going to want to go ahead and click on sign in. It'll take you to the area of Open CCC where you'll be able to go ahead and start your application. So you'll just want to go ahead and click on sign in and then click on start a new application.
And if it's okay, I just want to also really quickly point out the difference between an open CCC ID number and a Gccc ID number. So there's the number you get when you do the open CCC or the Mypath CCC, and that looks different than the ID number you get when you complete the college application. So you need to make sure you have the right ID. So a Grossmont College ID number will be a 7-digit number that starts with a 0 or a 1. and there will be no letters in that ID number, okay? The open CCC ID has letters in it. Okay, so if you just have that open CCC ID, you're not done, and you need to, Jaden's showing you how to complete the Grossmont College application, which will get you the other ID, and that's the one we need. We need the second one. So I just wanted to clarify, that's a huge point of confusion that I hear from a lot with kids.
Perfect. Okay, so I stopped receiving messages in the chat, so I'm going to go ahead and assume that everyone was able to get to this point. So I'm going to go ahead and get put into the application really quickly so that I can fill it out with you guys. And again, so we'll want to go ahead and select spring 2022. We can select any type of educational goal you'd like, as well as any major. Let's go with business, and then we can go ahead and click on continue. When it asks if you've had a previous legal name, this is primarily just asking if you've changed your name at all for whatever reason. If you have, then click yes. If no, then you're more than welcome to click no. And then we'll also be at a portion where it'll ask for your social security number. If you have that with you or you're able to access it, feel free to click yes and then enter that. If for whatever reason you do not, feel free to go ahead and click no. So, and that's simply all that we will need to put for that portion. And then if you do have it, you're more than welcome to input that as well.
Again, I would strongly suggest that if you have a social security number, that you take the time to go and get it and enter it in here. Okay, like, so maybe just, you can fill out the rest here, and then when we're done with the webinar, go and get it before you hit submit, because it'll save a lot of hassle down the line for you.
Okay, perfect. And for those of you that have any questions on what the intended major would be, you guys are more than welcome to put, I'm sorry, let me go back just so I could show you guys. So you guys are more than welcome to select anything that you'd like. Again, nothing that you select here is going to be set in stone. This is more so for statistical reasons for Grossmont College. If you happen to select you're interested in biology, and then later you find out that you're interested in business, you can still go ahead and complete that, because this is not set in stone whatsoever. So feel free to go ahead and select whichever you feel like you're most interested in, and that can be your major for the time being. And then so continuing on, we can go ahead and it's going to be asking for a current mailing address. If you wanted to receive your mail at a different location than you live at, you can definitely go ahead and enter that here. If it's going to be the same address that you had put into your open CCC account, you can click on here, and it will actually go ahead and delete that area, just because it's going to use the same address that they have on file for you. Hopefully that wasn't too quick. We're going to go ahead and continue. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to go ahead and feel free to go ahead and let me know in the chat. And for any of you that might have finished, that is really awesome. I'll go ahead and get to it in a little bit as far as what are the next following steps that you'll need to do. And yes, in case we have any questions about the address, you're always welcome to go ahead and change this with our college. All you have to do is just call our admissions and records office, and they should be able to change your mailing address. And then so what this is asking for, as of January 30th, 2022, I will have the following college enrollment status. Most of you guys will want to put first-time student in college after leaving high school. Even if you guys have completed some college courses while you're in high school, technically you are more so a high school student than a college student, so this would still apply to you. So you guys can go ahead and select first-time student in college. And then so for your high school level, you guys can go ahead and look through all of these different options, and then whichever you feel applies most to you. And then so, for example, we can go ahead and select received a high school diploma from a US school. It will ask you what your graduation date is. Even if for whatever reason you haven't graduated, you can go ahead and put the date in a future tense. For example, most high school students typically graduate around June 13th or the first of the month. So we can go ahead and put 6, for example. And for the year, we'll just want to go ahead and enter 2022. And then did you receive your diploma, GED, or certificate in California? Because you guys are currently here right now, you guys are going to want to go ahead and put yes. And then
So
have you-
Jaden, if they're juniors and they're going to graduate in 2023, would they just put 2023 there?
yes, exactly.
Okay. So whatever year you expect to graduate from high school.
Perfect. Oh, sorry about that, Gabriella. I'll try to slow down for you guys a little bit. So yes, you guys are going to want to go ahead and put first-time student in college after leaving high school. Years are going to want to put whatever year it is that you guys are graduating in this box. It won't affect you whatsoever. You'll still be able to go ahead and complete the application. Again, this is just so the college can be aware. And then so if we are continuing on, have you attended high school in California for 3 or more years? You guys are going to want to select whichever option applies to you. So I'll go ahead and select yes, for example. And then so for the last school attended, you can go ahead and put attended high school, adult school, homeschooled, independently homeschooled, or I did not attend high school or adult school and was not homeschooled. You can select whichever option you'd like. As far as this one, I can go ahead and select attended high school. The country, you don't need to mess with at all unless you finished high school outside of the United States. But if not, then you're more than welcome to leave it as is. For the state for this section, you guys are going to want to go ahead and click on California. It should be at the top of the list. And then so in the next portion down here, you're able to go ahead and put whatever city of the school that you last attended. So I can go ahead and I'll put as if I had gone to El Cajon Valley, for example. And it'll automatically fill out this information for you. If for whatever reason, when you search it up, there's nothing that shows up, you can also go ahead and click my high school is not on the list, and then it'll allow you to still have these boxes, but you'll just have to enter it manually. And so if you happen to accidentally put the wrong graduation date, you can always go ahead and go back into your application and adjust it, as well as what was the day? And then so Jamie, do you know exactly what's the day that they would graduate?
I don't know, like the date. What day is great? Let me look up. Let me double check ceremonies are being held on different dates. I mean, the last day of school this year is June 3rd. So maybe everyone should just put June 3rd.
Okay.
I think that's fair. So June 3rd, 2022. If you were a junior in 11th grade, go ahead and just put June 3rd, 2023.
That's a question really quickly in the chat. Okay, perfect. So continuing on, we're going to go ahead and go to the bottom of the page. It's pretty much just going to be asking for your unweighted high school GPA. If you have this on file, that would be amazing so that you could enter it. What you will want to do is you want to go ahead and enter your unweighted high school GPA. If for whatever reason you don't have it with you and you're absolutely unable to find it, you can also go with a rough estimation as far as what it would be based on the grades that you currently receive. So for example, I'll go with a 3.54, for example. And so we can go ahead and leave that section. What we will want to answer next is this is going to be going over both the English and math courses that you're taking in high school. And because some of you may be juniors and haven't already finished your high school education, you'll want to go ahead and enter what is the current English class you're taking. For example, we have 11th grade English composition and literature. You want to go ahead and enter if you're in honors, if you're in advanced, or if possibly you're at 10th grade, or if you happen to be at 12th grade. So you can enter that however it is that you'd like. For example, go ahead and enter 12th grade, for example. And then you guys will want to go ahead and mark down what is the current grade that you currently have, or if you've already finished English or math for the year, you'll want to go ahead and enter the grade that you received for that class.
Jaden, I have a student who is asking that they say that they've submitted their application, but it's not letting them get back in to edit that application.
Oh, interesting. So if they wanted to, one thing that they could do just so that they don't, if they'd like, they can always go ahead and go through this process again. If not, what they can also do is they can, let me go ahead and, I know I sent it to a student, let me go ahead and put it in the main chat. They can always go ahead and email our admissions and records as well, and they can change that in the system for them. Perfect. I have the email. And then you said they were just having issues adjusting the graduation date, correct?
For this, I'm sorry, are you asking me for the student who couldn't get back into edit? Is that correct?
Yes.
He just says that he can't edit. He can't get back into edit. I'm not sure what it is he needs to edit.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah, so it does take, after you submit the application, it takes Grossmont College anywhere between 24 to 48 hours to for your application to officially submit. After that period of time, you should be able to go ahead and edit, but I will go ahead and put our admissions and records email in the chat just so that they're also able to go ahead and edit that for you while the application isn't officially submitted yet. So you have that option, or if you'd like, you can wait the 1 to 2 days to go ahead and go back into your open CCC and edit it as well. And then, so if you happen to be a senior and you're not taking any of these classes, you'll just want to go ahead and enter as closely whichever class it is that you're taking. If you happen to know what area of math you are at, that would be most opportune just so that the school can accurately place you. Because you guys are in a specified class, this doesn't necessarily hold too much bearing on you guys because you guys may not be taking any of these specific math courses at Grossmont just yet. But you can select whichever math class you are taking or whichever math class you will be taking for the year. So for example, I'll go with calculus and then I'll go ahead and put that I had a B. So you guys will want to go ahead and enter the classes that you're currently taking, whether it's English or math.
So just to clarify again, everybody, put the class that you're either currently in or the one that you just took. Is that right, Jaden? Or should they enter the last class that you took or the one that you're currently in?
Yes, because
is that right?
Going to try to gauge what current math and English level you're at. So because you guys may be juniors, you just want to go ahead and enter whatever it is the current class that you're taking at the moment.
Okay, so if you're a junior, enter the class you're currently in, or if you finished math, enter the class that and you're a junior, enter the class you'll take next year. If you're a senior, enter the class you're currently in or the one that you just finished. Okay, so basically enter the, does that make sense, hopefully, for everyone? Again, the purpose of this part is they're assuming that you're going to be a regular student at the college and they want to be able to place you into a math or English class. I wouldn't stress too much about this part right now because you're not going to be the purpose of your application right now is not to take math or English or enroll in any of that right now. So you can always correct that in the future. But if you've already completed the application and you put the classes you're going to take next year, I wouldn't worry about it. I would just, leave it. And I think you'll be fine. Because again, they're just trying to sort of get an idea of, where to place you. But if you're not planning to enroll in math and English courses right now, I mean, I don't think you don't need to worry about that. You can always update this later on down the line. So don't get hung up here on this section, I would say. Yeah, so yes. Does that make sense? Did I say that okay, Jaden?
I believe so, yeah. That
Okay.
sounded accurate. Okay, let me quickly figure out I'm going to stop my share for 2 seconds while I figure out a workaround for your application, because I believe it's not allowing all of you guys to go ahead and submit due to the high school education level. Give me 1 second. See. Okay, perfect. So I was able to go ahead and figure that out. Let me go ahead and share my screen one more time with you guys. Okay, perfect. So let's go ahead and, if any of you are stuck on this page still, feel free to go ahead and change the high school completion date to January 30th, 2022. And then I believe after your application is submitted, we'll be able to go in and change your high school completion date toward the end after we go ahead and submit, just so that it'll allow you guys to go ahead and go on to the next portion of the application. And then let me know if you guys have any questions in the chat regarding that so that I can answer that for you.
Jaden, let's go ahead and go on if it's okay for you, because we're running a little short on time.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
So we'll go ahead and click continue, and then we have our citizenship/immigration status. If you're a U.S. citizen, you're more than welcome to click this. If you happen to have a green card, you're going to want to click permanent resident and then enter your card number here so that it'll allow you to go ahead and continue. Just for example purposes, I'll go ahead and put U.S. citizen. And then the next portion is asking for your U.S. military/dependent of military status. You can go ahead and click any of the following options. If none of these apply and you're not in the military whatsoever, you can go ahead and click none apply to me. And then so we're going to want to go ahead and click on continue. And then so it's next asking, have you lived in California continuously since January 30th, 2020? If yes, then feel free to click yes. If no, then feel free to click no. This next is asking if you've been engaged in any out-of-state activities, whether it's you've paid taxes outside of California, registered to vote, declared residency at another college or university, or filed a lawsuit for a divorce outside of California. If none of these apply, feel free to don't click any of those whatsoever. And then the special residency categories is primarily just asking if you've been declared homeless in the last 24 months. If you have, then feel free to click yes. And if no, then no. Or if you've ever been in court-ordered foster care whatsoever as well. So we'll go ahead and click no, for example. And then so this next is kind of basing off of your needs and interests for the college. So are you comfortable reading and writing in English? If you are, then feel free to click yes. And if you don't feel as comfortable reading and writing in English, you can click no. And then so for financial assistance is primarily just asking if you're interested in receiving financial aid for college, meaning you'll get paid money for taking classes. So you guys are more than welcome to click either or. It has no bearing on your application whatsoever. This is just to give you guys a little bit more information. So I'll go ahead and click yes. And then you'll want to mark down if you or your family is receiving 10F, CalWORKs, Social Security, or just general assistance. I generally recommend, if students haven't heard of this whatsoever, then they most likely aren't a part of it. So if that's the case, we can go ahead and click no. And then this is primarily asking if you're interested in playing like a college sport whatsoever. If you are, then you can click yes, or if you'd like to be on a team, you can click the top option. If no, that is perfectly fine. The programs and services section is asking which of these you might be interested in receiving more information from. If you wanted to receive academic counseling, advising, like meeting with a counselor, if you wanted to maybe get career planning and maybe get a couple emails from our career center based on things that you might be interested in, that would be good, as well as childcare. So feel free to look through this list, and if any of these have you a bit interested, you're more than welcome to click on them. And so if we don't have any questions, we're going to go ahead and continue. And then so this is just asking for gender information. You can click whichever applies to you. I will go ahead and click exactly what applies to me. And then next it's asking for your sexual orientation. Again, feel free to click whatever closely resembles your own beliefs. And then parent or guardian education level. So just to keep in mind, this isn't asking regarding you, it is your parents. So it's asking what was their education level. If they did high school and that was about it, high school graduate, or there's some high school did not graduate, or there's grade 9 or less. So feel free to click whichever you'd like. If for whatever reason you aren't sure, you can go ahead and click unknown or no parent or guardian raised me. So feel free to go ahead and do that for both of your parents. Just so that we're able to go ahead and move on. And then in this next portion, it's going to ask if you're Hispanic or Latino. You can click yes or no. And then you guys will want to go ahead and also, if any of these apply to you as well, you're welcome to click any of the other following races that we have as well. Perfect. And so I'm not seeing any questions, so I'm going to go ahead and continue on. And then so perfect, we are on the last slide of the application. Primarily what this is asking for is if you happen to want to transfer to another university, say San Diego State or USD or UCSD, this is just confirming that you're okay with the college transferring your information to them in regards to like transcripts and stuff like that. So we can go ahead and click I consent. And then by clicking this next box here with your name, you're pretty much just declaring that all of this information is accurate and of your own. So we can go ahead and click that. And then lastly, we're going ahead and clicking here. This is primarily just asking if you're okay with receiving federal and state financial aid programs and then possibly sending out your information, which is very typical for receiving financial aid. So we're going to go ahead and click here. And then if we don't have any other questions, we're going to go ahead and click on submit my application. And so after going ahead and clicking submit my application, we will be directed to the next page where it will go ahead and say your application has been submitted. And at this point, there isn't anything else that you would need to do on your end. It'll take, again, anywhere between 24 to 48 hours for Grossmont College to go ahead and submit your application. After doing so, you'll receive an email kind of just letting you know, congratulations on completing your application, and it'll go ahead and list what are the next following steps. Jamie, would you like me to go over that briefly?
Yeah, that would be great. And before you go on, I just want you to note, please make sure that you do take note of your CCC ID number. And you can see this under name on this confirmation page. It says CCC ID. You probably want to make sure that you've written that down, but just notice that there's letters and then followed by a few numbers. You probably want to have that written down somewhere, but that is not the number that you're going to submit to us. So Jaden's going to tell you right now how you can get your Grossmont College ID number, which is the thing that we need to enroll you in the class. So yeah, please go on, Jaden, and show them how they can retrieve their ID number.
Yeah, of course. So what we want to do is we're going to take a trip back on over to the Grossmont College homepage. So if you guys would like to once again go to grossmont.edu for me. And so you guys technically won't be able to get logged in yet just because you don't have an application on file. But once you're able to go ahead and make it here to the Grossmont homepage, you guys will want to go ahead and go on the top right corner and click on Webadvisor. And so what Webadvisor is, this is the student portal where students are able to go ahead and check on their financial aid awards, as well as set up classes, email professors, as well as this is going to be the area where you guys will go ahead and complete your orientation process. I'm going to go ahead and stop my share for 2 seconds while I go ahead and get logged in really quickly for you guys.
And again, so for all of you students who've already submitted your ID or your application rather, after 24 hours, you get that email or so from the college. And at that point, then you can do what Jaden's doing now and go into Webadvisor and try to retrieve your ID number. Okay, so just to be clear, so you might, if it hasn't been 24 hours since you hit submit, you might have to wait a little bit longer before you try to do this. Okay.
Perfect. Let me go ahead and start my share one more time. Perfect. And then so it doesn't look very much different, but you'll be able to tell that you're logged in because it'll say welcome and your name in the top left corner opposed to guest. So once we're logged in, we will want to go ahead and click on students. And this is primarily what I talked about, where we're able to go ahead and check on our financial aid down here. These are the orientation steps that you guys will complete in order to be able to go ahead and register for classes. Students are able to go ahead and register for classes right over here under registration. And you're able to go ahead and view your unofficial transcripts. You're able to view all of your grades at Grossmont College, as well as you're also able to go ahead and look at all of the textbooks that will be necessary for any future classes that you'll be taking. But next, to be able to go ahead and find your student ID number, it's going to be on the top left, student/faculty profile and colleague ID. And then so you guys will be able to go ahead and find your student ID number right here, right under your name.
So Jaden, if I'm not mistaken, does that email that they receive, the confirmation email, does that contain the directions for how to log into Webadvisor?
It primarily should, but if for
Okay.
whatever reason it doesn't, let me go ahead and.
Because there's special instructions for first time, like if you're logging in for the first time, right?
Yes, it'll say right here.
Okay, there you go.
It'll say your user ID is your first name, period, last name, as well as your first time password is going to be your birth date in the format of your 6-digit date of birth.
Okay.
So you'll be able to go ahead and enter that. And primarily what it will do is it'll still have your user ID and your password, but instead of saying password, it'll say quote unquote old password, where you're able to go ahead and enter your 6-digit date of birth. It'll have 2 extra boxes down here where you're able to go ahead and enter a quote unquote new
A
password.
new password, right? So you change your password from your birthday to something else that you can remember.
Exactly.
Right. And so make sure as you're going along, guys, like make sure you're writing down the passwords here so that you can, remember them and get back into the system.
Yes, and one thing to note as well is if ever there's a reason why you're not able to go ahead and remember your password, you can always go ahead and get that reset with our admissions and records as well. All you have to do is just email them, letting them know that you're having issues getting logged in, and they can remotely go ahead and change your password for you. Perfect. While we were on Webadvisor, Jamie, was there anything else that you wanted me to hit while I was here?
Just mainly showing them where their ID is. Yeah.
Perfect.
So can you just show one more time? You go where?
Yes. So starting from the main menu, you guys will want to go ahead and click on students on the top right corner. Next, we'll be on the students menu, which you guys will want to do under user account. We're going to go ahead and click on student/faculty profile and colleague ID.
Awesome.
And then after doing so, yes, your student ID will be right under your name to where you guys can go ahead and get that.
That's awesome. And then from there, we have put the reporting form. I put it in the chat once already, but it's also linked on all of those docs I've sent out to you. It says report your Grossmont College ID number on this form. So once you have your Grossmont College ID number, you need to report it on that form so that we have it. And then we at the district level will take will actually go through the process of enrolling you in that course. Oh, we have someone who's saying that if you've just completed your application, someone's saying that they can't sign in to Webadvisor. If you've just completed the application, like just now, or in less than 24 hours, it may not let you sign in yet. Is that correct?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
you'll need to wait to receive that confirmation email from Grossmont College. After doing so, it should take anywhere between 24 to 48 hours for them to grant you access to both Webadvisor as well as Canvas. You may not be able to use the student portal just yet.
Okay. Yes. So just hold on till you get that email, then try it again. And if you're still having problems, I've put in those those documents, the directions that I sent you. We have Erica almost actually has just been logged on. I put Erica's email in those documents. You can email Erica or go ahead and email me and I will forward it to her. If you still can't get in to find your ID, we can look you up. Okay. Thank you so much, Jaden. That was super helpful. Are there any other questions for Jaden before we move on? I know we're over time right now, but I'll try to go through the next part fairly quickly. Are there any more questions for Jaden right now about the application process? Jaden, are you seeing anything in the chat for you?
Bisan, you are very welcome for your help.
Awesome. Yes, thank you so much. All right, thank you so much, Jaden. Okay, I'm going to go ahead now and move on to the last part. I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to just run you through very quickly this last little bit, the last thing that we need you to do, which is the concurrent enrollment form. So that form is linked on this slide deck, which I have put in, and I'll also email out. It's also in other directions that I've sent you. So this concurrent enrollment form, you're going to click on it. Here's the form. You're going to download the form first. So hit download. Okay. And once you get here, you can actually type directly into the form, or you should be able to. Actually, no, I have to hit that. Okay. So I have to hit and open the download. Now I should be able to type directly into the form. And I'm going to just fill out my information. Don't worry about this. You'll say that's for the college, this box up here in the upper right, but you're going to leave it checked for Grossmont College. You're going to leave spring checked. We've changed the form. Before it was saying 2021, but I've changed it now. So everything should open up. It should say 2022. You're going to fill out your last name, first name, middle name. If you've got your Grossmont College ID, hopefully you do, you will fill it in there. If you don't have it, you can still print this out and send this to us and we can fill it out after you've submitted your number to us. So if you want to just get this taken care of, go ahead and you don't have your ID yet, that's okay. We can fill it in later. You can send us the form. You're going to fill out your address. You're going to fill out the name of the high school that you're currently attending and your date of birth. Are you participating in a homeschool program? You're going to click no. Because if you attend one of Grossmont Union High School District's 10 comprehensive high schools, you are not attending a homeschool program. So you do not need to worry about this bit here. Just leave that blank. And then here, now this is really, really important. We need fresh inked signatures. Okay. So if it says 2021, sorry, let me pause for 1 second and go back up here. If you turned it in and it said 2021, don't worry about it. We'll fix it. Okay. No worries. That's super easy to fix. The thing that we really, really need are these signatures. Okay. And again, we need a fresh inked signature. You cannot just type your name in here. I mean, you can, but we're going to send this back to you. You cannot submit it to us with your name typed in. Okay. We need you to actually sign this. So what you're going to have to do is you can complete this by type your info in here. And then you're printed out. There's a little info here on page 3 that you can type in. Or you can just print the form out and handwrite all of it in, whatever is easier. But if you want to type your info here, you're going to skip this page 2 entirely. This top of this, you don't need to fill out anything here. You're also not going to submit this to your counselor or site administrator. You're going to send this to us at the district office. Okay, so don't worry about anything. There's any of these parts on the top of page 2. Again, here for your, at the bottom of page 2, we need your parent's signature, an actual signature, okay? Again, do not just type in a name. We need a real signature. Again, or once you get to page 3, you'll note that it says optional. This is giving us this is giving the college, Grossmont College, permission to release your grade information to us, the high school. So that's really helpful to have, but it's optional. Again, if you have your student ID number, you would put it in here. You can type out this initial couple lines here, but then again, on this last part, we need an actual signature, okay? So you can type in that little bit of information, print out this form, sign it, and then get your parents to sign. Again, that's 3 signatures, page 1, parent signature on page 2, and then your signature if you would like, which again, we want to encourage you, but it's not mandatory, on page 3. On page 4 and 5 are just some directions, but I would just skip it because I just gave you the directions. So don't worry about pages 4 and 5. So print out pages 1, 2, and 3, get your signatures, and then you got to send it to us, okay? So just, again, here's the points I just made. List your Grossmont ID number if you have it, page 1 and page 3. We need actual ink signatures, page 1, page 2, and page 3, which is optional. Do not just type your name in. Don't worry about completing the top half of page 2. You don't need it. Okay. Now you've got your form, it's printed out, you've got your signatures. Now you need to turn it into us at the district office. So there are 3 options for doing that. You can either scan the form into a computer if you're able to, and email that form to Molly Hutchison at mhutchison@guhsd.net. I always make the mistake that I want it to be Hutchinson. I want to stick an N in there, but there's no N. It's just Hutchison, no N. Okay. So scan the form, email it to Molly, or you can take pictures of each page of the form. So that would be 3 pictures, 1 picture of each page, and email those pictures again to Molly Hutchison at guhsd.net, mhutchison, guhsd.net. The third option is that you can actually drop off the hard copy of the form at the district office, which is located, the address is 1100 Murray Drive. We're actually right on the campus of Grossmont High School. When you turn into the main parking lot, there's a street that goes off to the right, and there's an old schoolhouse looking building. That's us. So if you park there and you go into the office, just go up to the receptionist and tell her that you need to turn in this form. I've already talked to her. She knows about it. She'll get it to us. Okay. So you can leave the form with the receptionist at the front desk. Her name is Monica. She's really nice. Just let her know this is, that you're turning in this form, and she will get it to us. Okay. So those are your 3 options. Scan the form and email, take pictures of the form and email, or turn in a hard copy of the form. Okay. And last but not least, these are all of those same, resources that I have been sending out to you, but I put them again here. Complete that reporting form last once you have your Grossmont College ID. I also did a screencast of basically what I just went over that you can access here. The enrollment form is here. Directions, written directions with links are here. There's a slide deck with pictures. It's a slightly different route for this whole process than what Jaden just went through, but it's very similar. It'll get you where you need to go. And then the directions for the whole process I sent out. And then the syllabus for BOT 106 is also here. So I will send all of this information back out to you tomorrow, along with the recording, so that you have all of this info and you can get through this process. Are there any questions? I think I answered that last question. Where do we turn this in? Hopefully I just answered that right. So email the scan, email pictures, or bring the form to the district office. Are there any other questions that I might be able to answer for you right now? I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm going to go ahead and put that link to the slide deck into the chat so you can grab it if you'd like before you leave. All of those resources. Oops, excuse me. Okay, if there aren't any additional questions, you're very welcome for the help. I hope that has been helpful. There, I just put the slide deck in. Oops, I just sent it to Miriam. I'm so sorry. Let me send it to everybody. Here it is again. Okay. There's the slide deck again with all of the resources. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording right now.